Hello everyone, welcome to Valley Homes on TV. I'm Todd Flesner along with your co-host Debbie and Howard Giordano.
Hi, Todd.
Hey Debbie, hey, welcome, thank you for joining us here. We're glad you joined us and tuned into channel 26. You can catch us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings at 6:30, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. So thanks for joining us. And we love to bring you news about what's happening around town here, introduce you to some folks who call this home. And so, Debbie, you have a guest for us today.
I do. Thank you, Todd. So we have a local Chamber of Commerce, and we're going to hear about what's going on with that organization. They've been very active in the community I've been a member of the Chamber, I think, for 28 years, and I can remember. But Karen Hahn is the president of the board of the Chamber of Commerce, and she's come to talk to us about what's going on with the Chamber.
Yes. Terrific. Great. Well, it's a real pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
To get a chance to share a little bit about yourself, but also with what's the Chamber doing in Milpitas. As Debbie indicated, Chamber's been a long time part of the fabric of our Milpitas community.
Right.
But I know you've gone through some changes and some things here recently, so it'd be great to get caught up.
Okay, thank you, Todd.
But before we do that, we want to learn about you.
Okay.
So, Karen, tell us a little bit about you, your background, where you grew up. And
Okay. Well, my name is Karen Hahn, and I'm a CPA here in Milpitas.
Okay.
My office is at the 500 East Calaveras Boulevard, the big 3-story building.
Okay.
So I'm just right across the street. So I've been in business for myself for about 35 years, and I have a staff of about 9 wonderful people, and we just have a great time together, and we've created service lines with accounting and tax and some other lines. So it's something that I really enjoy doing.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
So now, how long has your business been here in Milpitas?
I actually worked out of my house for a number of years, and so I'm what I call a border rat. I'm about a block over into San Jose along Piedmont and Cropley Road.
Oh, okay.
But, so 35
That's
years.
close enough.
I would like to think so. Okay.
So how about education and background?
Okay, so, and I was telling Debbie earlier, I'm originally from Ohio.
Okay.
So I was raised on a farm right outside of Toledo, Ohio, a little town called Millbury. And my dad, he was both a farmer and he sold farm machinery. He sold Massey Ferguson farm machinery.
Okay.
So I kind of grew up in that business setting, family business kind of thing.
Did you actually drive?
Oh, yes. I was, as a farm kid, as soon as you could reach the pedals, you were put behind the tractor or the truck or whatever it was. And you were out there doing it.
Right. My
So-
grandfather had a Massey Ferguson. In fact,
Really?
first tractor I ever drove was a Massey.
Well, there you go.
So-
It was fun, huh?
Small world.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah, it was, as a kid, it was a good experience to grow up that way. So how I got here is a bit of a sad story. When I was about 14 or so, we came out to California on a family vacation, and I really fell in love with California, especially San Francisco, right? And then 15, 16, my mother came down with cancer and was quite ill. And my mother had always kept the books for my dad's business, and so she was getting progressively more ill. And so I kind of moved into the office and kind of looked at what she had done. This is back before computers, right? 13-column worksheets, and kind of took over the books. And then started working with the CPA that would come into my dad's business. And by the time I was about 17, I decided I wanted to be a CPA.
Isn't that a great story?
That's always been the dream. My mom died right before my 18th birthday, and my family kind of fell apart. My dad didn't do real well with that. So I still remember it was the day of my final exam, University of Toledo. I walked out to my car and I drove to California. I got into Campbell and was able to get a job within about 2 weeks.
Wow.
And
So
the
I
rest
worked-
is history. That's
So I worked for a local CPA in Los Altos for about 2 to 3 years, and then I went out on my own.
Okay, so
that's-
we know what brought you here,
Yeah.
and we know why you like San Francisco. One of the questions we like to ask all our guests, what do you like most about living in the Bay Area?
I think, I was thinking about this, there's so many things. Probably the diversity. I love, just all the different types of people. I was in Safeway here in Milpitas right before Thanksgiving, standing in line, and you look down the row, and there's just every kind of person from every place, and it was amazing to me to be in that.
Okay.
Beyond that, you can go to the ocean, the mountains, the desert. California's the seat of innovation. I love the way people think here. It's my place. I love California.
Well,
Yeah.
great. Well,
Yeah.
to pick up at 18 and move here, that's a commitment.
Yeah. Never looked back.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Never looked back.
Well, terrific. So, but now, not only do you have this business that you run,
Uh-huh.
you're also active in the chamber.
Right. Uh-huh.
Let's talk a little bit about what your role is with the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Well, I'm currently the president of the Milpitas Chamber
Okay.
of Commerce. I have been since the 1st of August.
Okay, and so what does that mean? Is that a volunteer position?
It's
Is
a
that-
volunteer
okay.
position.
All right.
So we have our board of directors, there's 15 members,
Okay.
and they're all successful business people in their own right.
Mhm.
And then we have a wonderful group of ambassadors
Mhm.
who are also successful business people. And between the board and the ambassadors and our great office staff, we're there to help businesses in Milpitas and beyond. Actually, we have members beyond Milpitas.
Okay.
And so our goal is to, provide resources, tools, information,
So
encouragement to run their business.
let's dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
So what actually does the chamber offer businesses?
So if you were to go to our website right now and do a count, you would find over 26 different types of benefits
Okay.
Okay.
that the chamber has to offer to their members. And when I was looking at that, when I was kind of getting my feet under me, I kind of like to put the benefits in what I call benefit tracks. So if you're a person who enjoys going out and talking to people and being very verbal in that kind of interaction, we have all kinds of things you can do, connection club, mixers, all kinds of events, things like that, where you can go out and be social and be verbal with people.
Or network?
Or
with the
network,
business?
Okay.
or if you're a person who would prefer social media kinds of things,
Mhm.
we have those kinds of things. So we have, the e-blast is something that happens, the Panorama magazine where you can write articles. So there's 3 or 4 different avenues you could go that way.
Mhm.
You want to be a thought leader. You want to get a little more involved with city government and understand what's going on there and be connected. You could go down that path. So it's what I call benefit tracks. It's
Okay.
really depending on your business needs and who you are as a person. It's available to you.
All right, terrific.
Yeah.
So, so the chamber, has these programs and different opportunities for folks to get involved. What are some of the perhaps goals or things that you're focused on right now at the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, as always, the main goal of the chamber, and I said this before, is to provide tools and resources
Okay.
so that business people in Milpitas can help to grow and prosper their own businesses. So our main emphasis is to do that.
Okay.
And then it's up to the business person really to start using those resources
Okay.
to grow their business.
So Karen, we talked earlier, you have a CEO also that still
Right.
runs, and we talked
Right.
about Liz
Right.
Ainsworth.
Right.
In fact, we've interviewed
Yes,
Liz.
this
I think
is-
Yes.
we had her on the show. And she was doing the dual role of a CEO
Right,
and a president. And now that's kind of split up. Liz is still the CEO?
Yes.
Operating under that
Right.
capacity, and then
Right.
you're doing the support work with the board.
So what the board does is they tend to make policy decisions.
Right.
We get an amazing amount of requests to make presentations in front of the board and then to offer our opinions, take our stands on things, to either support or not support. It's just an amazing amount of things that come through the chamber. So that's a lot of what the board does, is make policy, consider different kinds of proposals of things. And then it's up to Liz Ainsworth, who's a real powerhouse, just such a wealth of knowledge. And then, of course, CJ Erickson, who's the office manager, who's really amazing woman also.
Okay.
So it's kind of up to them to implement
Okay.
those types of things.
So the policies and procedures, those are things then that are designed to really then support the business community.
Yes,
Okay.
always. That's our main function
That's your
when
main-
something comes in front of us is this something, whatever this thing that we're considering it, will it support the business community in
So you're really a
Milpitas?
proponent for
But
business.
that's our mission.
Let's
good.
just throw out
Okay.
an issue, minimum wage law. How does the board, they take a position on it, and how does that affect the business
Well,
community?
of course, the minimum wage right now, you're bringing this up, it's a very complicated area right now. Senate Bill number 3 is addressing that. A couple of years ago, and this was before I was the president, the chamber actually put out a survey to the businesses asking them, how do you feel about increasing the minimum wage and everything? And one of the really, maybe not surprising, but one of the things that came back is employers want to pay their employees well. All right, they're not trying to get something for nothing. But on the other side of the coin, especially with some of your industries like restaurants, let's say, right? It's not only the increase to the hourly rate raise that the employer is going to have, but there's also employer burden on that, right? There's extra payroll taxes and workers' comp. So it's, and then in addition, right now you have the counties and the cities are all raising that minimum wage at different rates.
Right.
So now you've got a situation where maybe in Milpitas, you know, if the city of San Jose minimum wage is going to be higher, maybe you'll have an exit of employees. So I'm not sure I can really say this is the opinion of the Chamber of Commerce. It's a very complicated issue.
So the Chamber doesn't have an official policy or position on that particular issue?
Right, not at this point. And part of what's going to happen right now is subject to state laws.
Okay.
Right.
So now is that something that the Milpitas Chamber in and of itself will look at? Or is there a broader movement amongst chambers or a coalition of chambers across either the Bay Area or across the state in terms of how you look at those things?
I do know that I was just reading a study that Morgan Hill did on it. So there's been research and study about what is the effect of a minimum wage on the employment. So there's a lot of conflicting information. It's not a detrimental thing, or it is a detrimental thing. I think one of the things that the Chamber would like to see is, and the phrase is escaping me in the moment. So in other words, in the increase in the minimum wage, maybe there would be some provisions for, you know, either for an age, you know, under a certain age it wouldn't have to increase, or a certain industry, let's say perhaps waiters, waitresses that are getting tips at the same time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So does your board interact with other chambers and there's a Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce and there's some other boards. Is there any interaction or sharing of information between the chambers?
I think we don't really have influence among the chambers, right? But what we do is we do share information, we share ideas, things that work, things that don't work. We're definitely friendly with other chamber CEOs and boards and things like that. So it's more of a sharing of information and kind of a cheerleading each other. Because all the chambers, their main emphasis is to support the business community. And it's not just city chambers that are there, but there's also a lot of ethnic chambers that are Hispanic right? So kind of, I don't want to call it sub-chambers, that's not a good word, but you know what I mean, it's not just city chambers.
There's an affinity there between the different groups, right? And you maybe have a little bit different emphasis that
of course
each of
there
those groups
is.
might have.
And of course there's you know a California Chamber of Commerce and there's a national, so it's a real sharing of information.
Okay,
yeah. Good.
So if someone were thinking about, boy, I'd like to learn more about the chamber or maybe become a member, what are some of the benefits that they'll have? I know we talked a little bit of that beforehand, the resources and all,
right,
but why else might someone want to consider being a member of the chamber?
Well, you know, one of the reasons the biggest reason I'm a member of the chamber is, and while I'm trying to grow my business actively, I have always felt like the best way to do that is to create relationships with other businesses, entities, customers, vendors. So I think the best way for a business to grow themselves is to become part of a community, right? So know who the business people are in Milpitas. Seek to you know, call them up, take them out to coffee, things like that. That's the way to grow your business and to create relations. The Milpitas Chamber of Commerce provides those kinds of resources that you can do that kind of thing.
Right. Terrific.
Yeah. Let's talk about the events that are coming
up.
The
events.
We just talked about that earlier before we started the show.
Right.
You've got the that international barbecue. It's
coming up in May.
It's third or fourth year.
It's the fourth year.
Fourth year, and then
year.
And I just bought my ticket a few days ago for the crab feed.
Crab feed.
That's coming. So let's talk about the event.
Sure. So the crab feed is, if you like crab, it's the best crab, right? So March 3rd, that's coming up.
Okay.
And it's just everybody sits down and eats crab, right? And a lot of times we'll have the Spring Valley firefighters come and serve. So one great thing about the crab feed is that we also pick a nonprofit, a local nonprofit, and there's some of the proceeds
I didn't know that.
Yes, they do. And Spring Valley Firefighter has been one of them, and there's been, I think, Food Pantry, if I remember correctly, was like last year. I mean, it's just a great evening. There's a silent auction. So it's another opportunity for businesses to put together a basket kind of thing that has their name on it, and then people do the silent auction on it to raise money. So that's just a great event.
Great.
The International Barbecue, it's a 2-day event. This year, I believe it's May 20 and 21. Okay. And it's really a citywide event. So it's.
Are they moving the location? do you
We
know?
are. We're moving the location. It's right now. There's 3 different venues being considered. One has not been selected, but it's basically over in the McCarthy Ranch area.
Oh, okay.
Close off a street, and it's just it's a wonderful event. There's 2 stages. There's a professional stage and there's a community stage. So you have wonderful music and entertainment. There's the barbecue
That actually
competition.
would be good because there'd be plenty of parking there too.
That's always one of the
Right.
one of the considerations. There's Business Row over there, so you
Okay.
can buy a booth. But it's just it's more it's about the chambers of hosting it and supporting it. But it's such a great citywide event for
I had
the community
so
of
much
city.
fun. Last year I got to be a barbecue tester.
Yes, right.
I got to pick the winner there. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so both of those events, there's just lots
Yeah.
of things that a business person
Okay,
could
good.
do.
And those make pretty good fundraisers for
It's our
your
2 major,
organization.
and then, of course, we have other events throughout the year. We have the business breakfast once a
Okay,
month at
right.
the community center, right?
Okay.
Senior Center.
Senior center, thank
right?
you.
That's okay.
So we have a speaker come in.
And if I
of
remember,
interest.
that's the second Tuesday morning of every month, 7:30?
That sounds right to me,
Okay,
yeah.
mhm.
Right now, we're considering doing a state of the city.
Okay. Well, bring that
perhaps
back.
in
We haven't
June.
had that for a while.
Right, so we've been talking to the mayor-elect about that.
Oh,
Hope to
good.
do that. There's, the Connection Club over at Dave and Buster's. So there's a lot of events that go on
Terrific.
on a regular and frequent basis.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, in the International Barbecue, I mean, that's one of those real highlight events that is really one of the few opportunities that we have in the community to bring everybody
Exactly.
together, right?
Exactly, just a
Yes.
fun time for
Yeah.
the community to get
So that's
together. Yeah.
great. Well,
Yeah.
appreciate the chamber doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
What are some of the goals that you have, either personally or for your role with the chamber this coming year?
My personal goal with the chamber is, Milpitas has been very good to me over all these years. I've got a healthy business. I enjoy what I do. And especially over the last couple of years, I've been considering, what can I do to give back to the community of Milpitas? Because it's been good to me. And so that's, in my role as president of the chamber, that's kind of what, on my personal
Nice.
goal,
Yeah?
is to do that, is to find ways to create relationships, because I think that's so important, and to help the business community prosper, and just try to be part of something larger
Great.
in this city, to make it a good place
Right.
to live and work.
Sounds like you're going to make an impact.
Oh, thank
Something
you.
tells me
Thank
you
you.
got it going on.
Thank
So,
you.
Yeah.
if anybody is interested in joining the chamber or
Right.
want more information,
Right.
what is the website?
The website is the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce.com. I believe it's .com, not
Okay, I'm gonna put
.org.
that out.
Easy to find.
Phone number?
Off the top of my head, I don't know that. I'm
That's
sorry,
okay.
but if
okay.
you just Google that, it's you can find the website. It's a robust website, all kinds of information. You can always call the chamber office
Right.
and you talk to CJ. She's a wealth of information, and of course Liz is also. And you
Terrific.
could also call me. I don't. Should I?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, and this would be my office number. So my office number is 408-263-8888, and I would be more than happy to talk to you about what the chamber has to offer you, and we could perhaps design a special program for you.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine if folks are thinking about moving to Milpitas or maybe starting a business here in Milpitas, that the chamber is one of the places they have to contact.
Absolutely. That should be one of the first places you come to find out what Milpitas is about. We have a Milpitas directory that lists all the businesses that are in the chamber. It's a great resource when you're trying to find your way around Milpitas and the different services and things that you might need. It's all there.
Terrific. Well,
It's all there.
We're delighted that you joined
Yeah.
us today.
Thank you. Thank you so
Karen,
much.
for taking the time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Regardless how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered. Because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie Giordano, along with Todd Flesner. This is the month of December, so we're going to be doing kind of a short little wrap-up of 2016 as we go ahead and focus and jump into 2017 next month. So the economy's good. Stock market seems to, since the election,
Right.
things were kind of rocking, but it looks like there's signs of some kind of stabilization, and the stock market is steadily climbing out of the.
Well, you said a key word there, and that was the election, right? The 2016 election.
Yeah.
And that was a big event, and it reset things in a lot of different ways, right?
Right.
The expectations perhaps of a lot of people going into that election, the outcome was much different than a lot of folks expected.
Right.
And so the response to that's been interesting.
It has been, yeah.
To say the least.
I actually had a property, I don't know if I shared this, had a property put on the market a week or two before the election, and it took a little while to sell it, and the seller actually discounted the property because there was a pending foreclosure on it with the reverse mortgage when he inherited the house. So anyway, make a long story short, so we jumped in, we grabbed the buyer, but lo and behold, the neighbor 2 doors down just 2 weeks ago listed their home, and apparently they got offers well beyond their list price. So I think we had kind of a bubble. There was kind of this lull of I don't know what to call it during election time, that uncertainty. But I think now that we're locked in, it seems like people are not afraid to plunge in and make those long-term
there's a
commitments.
direction now, right? And so
are you seeing that in the lending market?
well, what we saw is an immediate aftermath of the election was the stock market surged, right? With Trump's election and coming into office, that portends a little bit more business-friendly sort of environment.
Right.
That's the speculation, right? Which the stock market is really happy to see. And so a lot of money has flowed into the stock market on the anticipation of future growth. And we've talked many times on the show before about the tug-of-war between stocks and bonds for investment dollars. And as a result, bonds have had to pay a higher rate of return. Home loans have got to bring in a higher rate of return, right, to be able to compete in the marketplace in terms of return on investment. So we saw interest rates jump 0.5% overnight.
Right. Has that curtailed a lot of your refi market that you were doing? And
Yes and no. I was fortunate. I had the majority of the refinances I had in process we had locked in prior to the election, right? Okay. After the election, there were a number of folks who called and wanted to get started because of the change and not wanting to see rates continue to go up. And so there's been a bit of activity with that as well. So change can be good in terms of helping people realize that they need to take action.
Well, I think we all have some misinformation that's floating around in the real estate market. I have an article, November 13th, San Jose Mercury, and they talk about incomes are accelerating faster than home values. A lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, how can anybody afford a home over $1 million? The average home price in Milpitas, and we'll put that in next month's wrap up, but we're at like $950, and how can anybody afford? They can, Todd. You're seeing your pre-quals. I mean, two healthy wage earners, affording well over $1 million home. And what was the term you used?
Well, I work with a lot of people I'll refer to as Henrys, right?
Okay.
High earners, not rich yet. All right. So we're fortunate. I mean, this is a high price area.
Right.
Real estate's higher here. Most everything costs more here,
Right.
but people do earn more here as well.
Correct.
And there are a lot of loan programs that I have that are tailored towards Henrys, right? To be able to get them qualified to be able to own a home. And a lot of people I talk to, I mean, the numbers can be staggering when you just look at the number. But I'll ask folks, have you talked to your parents about what it was like when they bought their first home? Was it
Good point.
easy, right?
Good point, yes.
In those numbers in comparison, the scale, we're really off the scale right now. However, in terms of the context of when they bought their home, it's always been a big deal.
Yes.
To buy a home.
Agree.
If that's what you're committed to doing, there are ways to do it, however, and there are a lot of benefits to be derived from doing that.
Okay.
So I love talking with folks and helping them to understand where they stand and how they can make what they may think is an unrealistic expectation reality for themselves.
Correct. And we do understand that property values are not going down. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that we're very secure, even though with the higher interest rates,
Mm-hmm.
that is not going to suppress the property values. There's still plenty of buyers. I'll
Mm-hmm.
report in I've got an open house activity coming up, and I'll be able to give you some good numbers. But
All right.
we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
great demand by buyers right now. Limited supply of inventory. There's only 13 homes for sale in the whole city of Milpitas. They're just historic, low inventory,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm out talking to clients, so I think that inventory is going to start to rise as people
Mm-hmm.
can use that equity, cash out, and then they want to usually retire out of the area.
Sure.
So,
Well, I think you talked about people kind of pushing the pause button as we were going into the election season,
Yes.
and now that we're past that and have a little bit more level of some certainty. Not complete certainty.
Not complete certainty.
The future is always in a certain
Trump
place.
is the president, so we're not 100% certain of what's going to go on, but anyway, we'll just let's leave the politics out of it. You have brought something, real quick, we got another
Yeah.
minute or two, share.
So this is from the Mercury News.
Okay.
And it shows definite signs of frost on the once sizzling Bay Area housing market.
Okay.
We had talked earlier this year about multiple offers and
Yes.
way over, and
Yes.
those aren't that's not the norm right now. Not every property is multiple offers.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And so, although I just had a client just this week who lost out on a property where there were multiple offers.
But Todd, I think it depends on where the schools are.
Absolutely.
And proximity to employment, and there's a number of factors
Yeah,
that will
absolutely.
drive the value of that home.
Absolutely, but we're not seeing the way over bidding. We're not seeing things overheated
Agreed.
as they have been.
Agreed.
So it's a little bit more even-handed sort of market, a little bit more balanced for buyers and sellers right now.
And we talked about it's an equilibrium. That's-
Absolutely, and that's a healthy place to be, actually.
Well, Elrin is signaling us off, so I think.
You get us talking about real estate, we can't stop.
Oh, I do! Well, I'm excited about the upcoming year, and then we'll be able to share with folks what we learn and who we have coming around Milpitas to come in and interview with us. So I guess we'll close for now. Just happy holidays and happy New Year to everyone. And
Yeah.
thank you for watching Valley Homes on TV. We'll see you next year.
Thanks for joining us.